tell you the story then. Who?
We're going to hear what Peter has to say. Once upon a time.
So, Uber applied for a private hire vehicle operator's licence in 2012. We have no legal ability to refuse any applicant a licence unless they're a mass murderer or have such serious offences or such a serious history that they are immediately debarred. So they were granted a licence. It became apparent that they were conducting their business through a modified iPhone, and we contemplated the way in which they were doing this, and it is, as everybody probably listening will know, it's a criminal offence under the legislation for private hire vehicles to have a taximeter in a vehicle that isn't a licensed taxi. We went to, and this is one of the consequences of the 21st century and PDAs and so on, so we went to an eminent QC and said, having inquired how it worked from Uber, this is how it works. This is what they're doing. And we said, within the legislation of the Private Hire Vehicles Act, does this constitute a meter or not? And he concluded that it didn't. It's not that we concluded that it didn't. A QC concluded that it didn't. So we said...
One QC?
So we said, okay, if that's your conclusion, then their operation is legal. When...
One person's view.
Yeah, we want to hear from Peter.
Yeah, an eminent QC isn't just an ordinary person, certainly not somebody who deals with taxi and private hire legislation, which is old and somewhat antiquated. So, the taxi trade objected to this, which is self-evident, and we said to the LTDA, well, we're a regulatory authority. We've done our job in taking a legal view about what the law allows, it doesn't allow, and the view we have is that it does. If you disagree with this, which you do, then the quickest route to go is to go to the High Court and ask the High Court to decide what the law says. The LTDA, as the biggest of the taxi trade representatives, then issued private prosecutions against several taxi drivers. They got to the magistrate's court. The magistrate declined to deal with them because he discovered that we'd offered to go to the High Court with the LCDA and other bodies, and those prosecutions therefore languished. You can't go to the High Court if there are criminal prosecutions pending, because the High Court won't deal with it whilst there's a criminal case in train. After a lot of discussion, including some dispute about when this started and how long it's taken, we've just heard from the LTDA that they have withdrawn their criminal prosecutions, which we welcome, and we will now go to the High Court to seek a declaration about what the law actually says. Actually, as a regulator, I'm content with any view of that law which is binding, because the other way round, clearly, you've got somebody who believes that what they're doing is legal and would challenge it if we decided that it wasn't. And I think it's really important, because the trouble is that none of this legislation was written in the era of mobile phones, of 3G technology, of transmitting information around the world. Now, the other interesting thing is that they don't seem to be on their own, and let me tell you this story because it's interesting. I asked from Halo Cab the other evening, three weeks ago, and they're licensed taxi drivers, so that's okay. And it said on my iPhone, no Halo Cabs available, but we can send you a private hire vehicle. I thought, well, that's interesting. Let's see what happens then. So I said, yeah, okay, that'll be all right. And it said it at the same price as the taxi, so I thought, okay, all right, I'll get into this. So I did get it. The guy turned up in a car, and I got into it, and he obviously asked me where I was going. I said the Royal Lancaster Hotel, or whatever it's called this week, Lancaster, London. And I was waiting for him to say what the fare was, but he didn't say it, so I didn't ask him. So I went to Royal Lancaster, and I'm thinking, how's this going to work then? So he's got an iPhone, so obviously at the end of the journey you have to say, what's the fare? press the button on the iPhone, it says 14 quid. So I paid him 14 quid. And I'm only telling that story. Now, we've written to Halo to say, on the basis of other activities in the private hire trade, can you please tell us how this journey, how the fare for my journey was calculated? Because it's either come out the ether or it's self-evidently connected to time or distance. I'm not telling you that for any other reason than the fact that we have to get round our heads, all our heads, that in the 21st century there's a load of modern technology that allows things to happen which are not in the legislation. The legislation imagined that a taximeter was a mechanical contrivance fixed to the vehicle, connected to the back axle, driven by driven by distance at the top. And we're dealing in an environment where these things have huge computing power. And I'm quite anxious to find the results out, because I think it's manifestly unsatisfactory that on the one hand you've got something which people are using